Welcome, everybody. I'm Gina. Today we're going to do some gentle movement, some breath work, and some meditation. So find yourself a really comfortable position, whether that's in a chair or on a mat. You might want to wiggle a little bit or do a little body scan and feel, okay, where am I holding any tension, or are my shoulders away from my ears? Is my head over my spine, or am I hunched forward? Am I causing any tension in my neck? Are my hands nice and gentle and loose, or are they holding any tension? And then I'll invite you to really show up in how grounded you feel in wherever you are. So, what's underneath you, and can you trust whatever's underneath you to support you? Can you root down while also feeling a little bit proud? So bringing your chest up a little bit. And we'll come to the breath. So you might close your eyes if that feels good to you today, or you might just lower your gaze and find a little spot of something to make your eyes kind of go fuzzy so that we can go inward. And we'll start just by observing where is the breath. And we take thousands of breaths every day, but we don't always take deliberate breaths. So you don't have to change your breath. We're just going to notice, where is it coming in and out of the body? Are you breathing through the nose, which we know has lots of health benefits? Or are you breathing through the mouth? And if you are breathing through the mouth, that's okay. We're going to deliberately change the breath in a little bit. Right now, we're just noticing. And then, can you feel the chest rise? That's a common place where you can feel the air changing the way that your body is shaped, what your body is doing. The chest rises on the inhale and sinks on the exhale. And can you feel the breath in your belly? Can you engage the diaphragm and let the belly rise and let the belly sink on the exhale, rise on the inhale and sink on the exhale? We don't have to do big breaths, and we don't have to change too much about how we're breathing. If you can breathe through your nose, that's great. And I'll invite you to set an intention if that feels good to you today. Your intention can be super simple. It can be, I'm going to focus the whole time. It can be, I'm going to focus on my breath. It can be, I'm going to be gentle with myself. I'm going to be gentle with my thoughts. Make it easy, make it attainable, something that you would like more of in your life, something that you would like to see manifested, or something that you want to just have that little reminder, and then send that intention out into the universe. Let the universe help conspire to make it so. I'm going to do a couple different breathing exercises to start out. And again, if these are not working for you, try them. And if you're like, absolutely no way, that's fine. Come back to doing exactly what you're doing right now. Gentle in and out through the nose, watching the chest rise, watching the belly rise. That is perfect. So if you want to try this breathing exercise, we're going to breathe in through the mouth like we're sipping through a straw. Slowly in and in and in and in, and then slowly out through the nose. And this is a little bit different than some of the breathing exercises we've done previously. So sipping in through a straw. And breathing out through the nose. And see if you can make it gentle, if you can make it light. If it causes you to feel woozy or lightheaded, reassess, say, okay, what can I do to make myself feel okay? And then come back into it again. We're going to do 10 rounds like this, and you might like to count down from 10. Not everybody likes counting, but some people find it really, really helpful to keep our monkey mind from chattering too much. So you might go 10, 9, and so on. And again, take your time. Doesn't really matter if you reach one or not. Doesn't really matter if you get distracted. All that matters is that we notice when we get distracted. And then we just start again and we say, okay, that's fine. I'm going to start at 10 again. And we do it from a place of compassion and joy instead of a place of regret or beating ourselves up or saying unkind things, because it's not really about counting. It's not really about anything except being with your body and being with your breath and being with your mind, and seeing how those three things are linked, and seeing how we can better access our mind, better control our mind, better control some of the that constant chatter that a lot of us face by coming into the present moment, by watching the breath, by using the diaphragm, watching the belly rise and fall, watching the chest rise and fall. And then no matter where you are, like I said, the counting is just a tool. It doesn't matter if you get to 1 or you don't get to 1. Take your last breath. And then you might like to lick your lips if they're feeling a little bit dry, and you might just let the breath naturally return to however feels great in your body. And again, assess, am I carrying tension? Can I release even 1% of that tension? So maybe that means wiggling your jaw a little bit or separating your teeth if you're someone who has tension in their jaw or holds their teeth together. Or that might mean doing one nice shoulder roll, bringing the shoulder blades together and down the back if you're someone like me whose shoulders creep up towards their ears unknowingly. And then come into this space, let the ground hold you, and feel whatever sensations are on the outside of your body. So this might be the sensation of your hair against the nape of your neck. Or maybe you have the sensation of your clothing touching your skin, maybe on your arms, on your torso, on your back, on your legs, on your feet. Maybe there's a sensation, maybe there's air blowing where you are, or there's the ground underneath you that might feel soft or more firm. Maybe you have some altered sensations on your skin on the outside of your body, like itchiness or tingling or whatever it is. And we'll identify those, we'll name those, but we try not to judge them as good or as bad. And if you can't feel much of anything, that's okay too. It's not, we don't need to seek the sensations. We're simply identifying them if we feel them and then letting them go, because we're trying to stay right here, right now, in the present moment. So we'll stay with these sensations, being really conscious of being in our body and getting out of our head and being really physical in this space, in this time. And I'll invite you to join me for another breathing exercise. This one, we're going to move into some box breathing. You can choose how long you like each side of the box to be. Some people are good with counting and they want to count 3, 4, 5 seconds on each side of the box. Other people would rather be more intuitive and say, yeah, that inhale feels about right. That holding of the breath at the top, it feels about the same amount of time. Breathing out for about the same amount of time. And holding the breath at the bottom for about the same amount of time. In and out through the nose where you can. And maybe once you've done a few rounds, you challenge yourself and see, okay, I'm ready to extend each side of my box and make my box a little bit bigger. So we're going for comfortable. If you feel like you're gasping for air or you can't wait to exhale, then Maybe your box has become a little bit too big, and maybe that box is being served by the ego rather than being served by the heart. So make your box the right size for you today. We're going to stay here for a couple minutes, and I'll call you back in a little bit. Take your time. There is no rush. Finish your next box, inhaling, holding the breath at the top, exhaling, and holding the breath at the bottom. And then allow the breathing to return to whatever feels normal, whatever feels right in your body. And then again, check in with yourself. What sensations am I feeling? Do I feel any tightness? Do I feel any constriction? Do I feel any discomfort? And can I do something about it? We don't have to tolerate discomfort when we can make a slight adjustment and move. There's no reason to be perfectly still if we just keep thinking about, oh, my back, or oh, my legs. Make your back comfortable, make your legs comfortable. Feel like you have the autonomy to be comfortable in your own body, in your own skin, as far as that is possible for you. And then I'll invite you to come into a little bit of really mindful, gentle movement with the breath, starting with some seated cat-cows, tucking the chin to the chest and rounding the spine, and then tipping the head up towards the ceiling, bringing the sternum forward, bringing the clavicle through the shoulders, looking up and putting a little back bend in your spine. Exhaling into cat pose, arching the spine. And inhaling into cow pose, putting a little back bend, tipping the pelvis each time. And you decide how big or how small these movements are. The most important thing is they are matched with the breath. So even if your movements are tiny, inhaling to look up and exhaling to look down, what we're doing is connecting our body to our breath and keeping ourselves in the present moment. And when we get distracted, which we do get distracted, the chatter comes, the thoughts come, we just come back to the breath. I'm inhaling into cow pose, I'm exhaling into cat pose. And do a couple more like this. And then take your time. When it feels good, we'll come back into a nice tall seat. And again, moving with the breath. We'll tip one ear towards one shoulder. We'll do a full breath here, in and out. Let it be gentle. And then a breath back to center. Let it be gentle, focusing on how do I feel in my body. and then dropping the other ear to the other shoulder. And you move with your breath, how it feels good. Some people want to move quickly and they want to be vivacious and they want to be vigorous. Great. But some people want to be more mindful and more slow paced and more easy and more deliberate. Great. One is not better than the other. We're just thinking about inhaling and exhaling and connecting the breath to the movement in a way that feels good in the body, that feels like, yeah, this is how my neck wants to be stretched. This is the extent to which my body wants to move. And maybe your arms want to get involved. Maybe they don't. Maybe your body wants to get involved and you want to make these bigger, or you want to prolong and do 2 breaths on each side. That's fine. Make it your own, but make it deliberate. How does it feel in your body? How does it feel? How does your breath feel with the movement? And can you bring yourself back every time your mind wanders? Which is fine. It doesn't matter if your mind wanders. What matters is we can catch it and we can redirect it like a child saying, oh, look at this. We're actually going to stay right here in the present moment. Isn't that so cool? And then we can do the same by twisting and turning. So inhaling to look over one shoulder, and an exhale here. And then calming back to center, nice and slow and gentle, unless your body wants more vigorous movement, which is fine. And then we'll turn the head the other direction and twist over the opposite shoulder. And do a breath here, being really mindful. Can I feel my chest? Can I feel my belly? And coming back to center. And again, make it your own. Maybe you want to twist more deeply. Maybe you want to tuck the opposite hand behind. Maybe you want to be really gentle and you're just turning the head and you're not engaging with the shoulders or the torso. It's really up to you. Ask yourself, what do you need today? And then try to give yourself that. We make a lot of compromises over the course of the day. Your time right here with your breath in your body is not one of the times you need to compromise. This is one of the times where you can be 100% selfish, and that's the whole purpose, is what does your body need? What feels good? How can you be in this present moment? And then when you feel like, okay, that feels pretty good, we'll come back to center and stretch into the shoulders a little bit. So you might like to do some shoulder rolls up to the ears and back and down. And again, you can make these as big or as small as you want. You can involve the elbows if you like. You can involve the whole arms if you like, but make it your own. Ask your body what it needs today and give it that. Maybe you do one full circle for an inhale and one full circle for an exhale. Maybe you do half and half where the shoulders come up on the inhale and down on the exhale, and then don't forget to change directions at some point. So bringing the shoulder blades together and up and forward and down. Just seeing what feels good. And maybe this doesn't feel good and you just want to sit still and come back to the breath. You have the autonomy to do that as well. And you should feel good in that choice. That's no problem. And then you might bring the movement into the hands, opening and closing the fingers, maybe rotating the wrists, maybe interlocking the fingers if that feels good, squeezing the hands together. And if you hear pops and clicks, that's fine as long as there's no pain. So the movement of the cartilage isn't the problem, but if there's pain with it, be gentle, back off, reassess, find out what the problem is, and then come back if you want to. Approach it slowly and gently so that you are not experiencing any pain whatsoever. And then finally, we'll come into the hips, doing some hip rotations in one direction. And this is another place where you might inhale to the front, exhale to the back, Or you might experiment with doing a full inhale with a full rotation and then a full exhale with a full rotation. See what feels good in your body. And then once we do one more in this direction, we can switch and go the other direction. And see how this feels. Again, noticing the sensations, our clothes, the ground beneath us. How does your skin feel? How does your body feel? What sensations do you have? And then we'll slowly spiral back to a nice tall seat, and then come into your very most comfortable positions. So this might mean if you're in a chair that you put something behind your low back. It might mean that you want to lie down on the ground. It might mean that you switch how you're sitting in some way to make yourself just a little more comfortable, that you feather your nest. Maybe if you're someone who gets cold, you put on another layer, whatever it is. And we'll end with a body scan. And we'll start from the tips of the toes. So this body scan, we'll do one side and then the other side. So think about your left foot, deeply about your left foot, from the tips of the toes up to the ball of the left foot, the arch of the left foot, and the heel of the left foot. And then bring the attention to the ankle, the left calf and the shin, the left knee, the thigh and the hamstrings on the left side, and the hip. That whole left leg, let it light up. Feel it all at once. And then bring the attention up the left ribs, the left chest and the left back, the low back, the middle back, and the upper back, into the left shoulder. And then light up the whole left side of the torso, from the hip to the shoulder, the front and the back, 3 dimensions. And then we'll set the attention from the shoulder down to the elbow, so the tricep and the bicep, the front and the back of the elbow, and into the lower arm, the front and the back side, the wrist, the palm of the left hand, the thumb, and all 4 fingers. And then thinking about the whole left arm, from the shoulder to the fingertips, and then moving up the left side of the neck, the left ear and the left jaw, the muscles around the eye, and all the way up to the crown of the head. Thinking about the left side of your body, from the crown of the head to the tips of the toes, from the tips of the toes to the crown of the head. And we'll do the same thing on the other side. So letting go of that and bringing the attention back to the right foot, the right toes, the ball of the foot, the arch of the foot and the heel, the right ankle, the right shin and the calf, the knee, the front and the back of the knee on the right side, the thigh and the hamstrings, all the way up to the hip on the right. And then thinking very deeply about the whole right leg, from the toes to the hip and from the hip to the toes. And then bringing the attention up the torso, the belly, the side of the ribs, the chest, and the back, the low back on the right, the mid back on the right, and the upper back on the right. Lighting up that whole torso, front, side, back, from the hip to the shoulder. And then moving into the right arm, from the shoulder to the elbow, the bicep and the tricep. And then the lower arm, the front and the back, all the way down to the wrist, the palm of the hand and the back of the hand, the right thumb and all 4 fingers on the right side. Thinking deeply about the right arm, from the shoulder to the fingertips, And then up the right side of the neck, the right jaw, the muscles around the right eye, the right ear, all the way up to the crown of the head. And while you have your attention at the crown of the head, call back that intention you may have made in the beginning of our time together. Let it wash over you. Be kind to yourself. And when you're ready, you can open your eyes.